Impact Interview is sponsored by the Pocono Mountains, where small-town charm meets big adventures. Book your trip today by visiting PoconoMountains.com.
Well, welcome back to Nittany Game Week. We're going to change up the game plan a little bit, and we're going to offer an interactive Impact interview, and we're going to interview our coaches right here because we have these brilliant minds that we need to pick. And our fans have submitted a bunch of questions. Yes, I'm talking about you two guys. Our fans have submitted a couple of questions, and we want to promote the interactive part of Nittany Game Week and answer some of these questions. So let's get right to it. And the first one comes from Daryl. He asks, since Penn State won the Big Ten in 2016, Ohio State and Michigan have won all of the Big Ten titles. You guys have mentioned before that the Big Ten was a deeper conference in years past. Why do you think that was? Jay, we'll start with you.
Well, I think if you look at the graphic, I mean, if you look at the first 10 years, Penn State was in the Big Ten. Eight of the 11 teams won a share of the Big Ten title, went to got the automatic BCS bid. That's pretty impressive. Since then, it hasn't been that balanced. I think part of it is Ohio State and Michigan have done a great job in the last 6 years. Penn State's been just behind them. And then the rest of the league, I think, is they're all struggling to kind of keep up. It's not because of facilities. I think you've just got a couple of programs that have put a stamp on this thing and said we're going to distance ourselves from everybody, and I think that's part of it.
Well, the one thing that's happened, too, is that, and you said it to me, the league from top to bottom isn't what it used to be. It's not even close. Just the stat that he mentioned. There's three teams. It's Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan that are the teams in the Big Ten. The league has changed drastically, in my opinion, because you just don't – the competitive level has changed what you were playing every week. That's the one thing that's really – I've noticed the biggest difference in the Big Ten.
And I think the other thing, too, in those first 10 years – Joe Tiller came to Purdue and had a unique style and recruited nationally to get to that style. Barry Alvarez had a style and recruited to that style and had a system and was consistent. So there wasn't the same turnover that you're seeing in coaches now. Everybody wants to fire somebody every 2 or 3 years. So some of these guys were able to kind of put their stamp on a program. You look at Rutgers now; they're starting to get where they're bowl eligible because they've been patient. So we'll see how it goes.
All right, our next question comes from Alvin. The college football playoff rankings just came out. Penn State is number 11. In the other polls, they're number 9. This doesn't seem fair. Why is there a difference? Tom, any idea you want to take this one?
I have no idea why there's a difference because I think Penn State certainly deserves to be in this playoff picture. I don't understand why they are where they are, but I think that will change within the next few weeks.
I think part of it is non-conference scheduling, and I think we've talked about that over time. Ole Miss is right ahead of Penn State. They played Tulane. Now, on paper, Tulane is not a great team in non-conference scheduling, but they're ranked 23rd, 24th. So there's a non-conference win against a ranked team. Some of the teams ahead of them, Oklahoma has a win over Texas. That's a big win. Alabama has some wins over ranked teams. So I think that's next year when the Big Ten is deeper. I think that's going to be interesting. I think, Washington right now at 5 would have legitimate in saying, look, we played Oregon and beat them. Who is Florida State beating? Florida State's big win is LSU. I don't think that's as good a win. So, but again, it's early.
Yeah.
But just for fun, it'd be fun if you take these rankings and look towards the 12-team playoff next year. We're not even having this argument, and now Penn State is the 11 seed going to Eugene, Oregon to play. And now, if they win the game, you're happy. If they lose, there's no bowl game. So that's the other part of the thing that's going to come.
A lot of things to be worked out, but I can't wait. Home playoff games.
I mean, look at some of those games.
Home playoff games are going to be fantastic
Alabama,
next year.
Oklahoma. I mean,
there's some issues to work out. What happens with the Pac-12? Yeah. What happens with the team that loses an initial playoff game? Do they then go to another bowl game? So there's a lot of things that have to be talked about. But the one thing, Tom, and you mentioned you don't know the reason why, and I don't understand how Ohio State can be number 1 because the Penn State win is such a great win, and then yet Penn State's back at 11, but they're helping Ohio State, but they're being hurt. So I think a lot of this gets worked out when you have a deeper Big Ten conference and you have more ranked opponents.
And even Ohio State, they lucked out because if Notre Dame could count to 11, Who knows what happens there?
But at the end of the day, they win that one. And I think that's one of those things people look at. You schedule them and you beat them on the road.
All right. So we go to our final question. It's about the offense versus the defense. And Jordan asked, over the years, there have been Penn State teams that were really good on defense and special teams. They've had offenses that protected the ball and won games when needed. This team seems to fit that bill. We're 7-1. Why is everyone so mad? And can it be tough to keep a team from pointing fingers at each other when they do lose? And in this case, just the one game.
7-1 and miserable as hell. You lost the team that's number one in the country on the road. I mean, the first series of the game last week, booing. Like, let's just just let this team play out. But I think leadership. One of the things Joe was really good at was, hey, look, we're going to build on defense, special teams, then offense. This particular year, there were some years where he said, look, we've got a great offense, so we're going to be more. It all depends. This team is clearly more reliant on defense, and that's as long as everybody in the program understands that. Then I think you shouldn't have any problems.
Exactly. As long as everybody in the team understands how we're going to win these games, there are no problems. You're going to win with defense, kicking in your offense, and that's just the way it's going to be.
We hope you liked that change of pace, kind of an unbalanced line or spread offense, change up the tempo. And don't forget to check out NittanyGameWeek.com. You can find all of our impact interviews from this season and past seasons there. Conversations with Todd Blackledge, Blair Thomas, and Justin King are just some of what you'll find, along with our other web exclusive content.